Good afternoon, students, and welcome to our ICT 9 third quarter week 4 discussion. For this week, we will be discussing about diagnosing computer systems. And before anything else, let us first identify our objectives for this week's lesson. So, at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to identify common PC problems and solutions. Second, diagnose computer systems and perform basic troubleshooting. PC diagnosing. So probably the most frustrating problem computer users run into are startup problems. So where your computer won't boot. Equally annoying are error messages you constantly run into during your computer's startup process. In this module, you will be given a few tips on how you can avoid some of the most common problems that happen right after your computer is turned on. Here you will learn the basic troubleshooting. So first, we have the trial and error. When you find a faulty component in your computer, check it with the other computers so that you can make sure whether the fault is in the component or not. The next, check cables. In case of any device failure, check all the cables of your computer such as data cables, power cable, internal circuitry cables, and make sure that all these are plugged in and working fine. Then another is the hardware settings. Check the hardware settings in the CMOS and in the device manager of the system and make all the device drivers up to date and all the cards are plugged in properly. Then also notice changes. So when you notice a software or hardware error in your computer, determine what was changed before the problem occurred. Then also we have the event viewer. So in the event viewer, you will find the error or warning messages associated with any faulty hardware or software. Then also make notes. So in troubleshooting, troubleshooting is a big learning option and we can learn a lot when we face any kind of troubleshooting in our computer. So make notes including the error messages and their solutions so that you have a record on how a certain problem occurred and how did you solve it. Now let's talk about the common PC problems and solutions. So when you are working away at your computer, when suddenly up comes an error message or worse, your computer comes to a screeching halt. Here are the common computer problems and solutions that can help you. So first is to perform an auditory test. So an auditory test is an orthodox but still effective way of judging how a computer is working. So with the computer on and running, play in a decent length audio file, usually above 30 seconds. If the audio is choppy or slow, it usually means that the processor is working at an elevated level or there is not enough RAM to run all programs loading. Changing the startup sound is a great way to apply this test. Another issue associated with choppy sounds is PIO, or program input-output mode. So this affects how the hard drive reads and writes data from a drive. So switching to direct memory access or DMA allows for faster reads and writes and can sometimes repair choppy audio. The next is to check any newly installed hardware. So many operating systems, especially Windows, can conflict with new drivers. The driver may be badly written or it may conflict with another process. Windows will usually notify you about devices that are causing a problem or have a problem. So to check this, use the device manager. This can be accessed by entering the control panel, clicking the system icon, clicking the hardware tab, and clicking on a device manager. So use this to check and arrange the properties of hardware. The next is to check any newly installed software. So software may require more resources than the system can provide. Chances are that if problem begins after software starts, the software is causing it. So if the problem appears directly upon startup, it may be caused by software that starts automatically on boot. Then number 4, we have check RAM and CPU consumption. So a common problem is a choppy or sluggish system. So if a system is choppy, it is good practice to see if a program is consuming more resources than the computer can provide. An easy way to check this is to use the task manager. So right click on the taskbar and then select task manager and then click the processes tab. The CPU column contains a number that indicates the percentage of CPU the process is consuming. Then the memory usage column indicates how much memory a process is consuming. Then number 5 is to listen to the computer. If the hard drive is scratching or making loud noises, shut off the computer and have a professional diagnose the hard drive. So listen to the CPU fan. So this comes on a high speed when the CPU is working hard and can tell you when the computer is working beyond its capacity. Next is to run a virus and malware scan. So performance problems can be caused by malware on the computer. So running a virus scan can unearth any problems. Use a commonly updated virus scanner such as Norton Antivirus or Avast Antivirus. Then number 7, we have to check for the problem in safe mode. So to enter safe mode, tap F8 repeatedly during post. This works on most systems. If the problem persists in safe mode, it is fair bet that the operating system itself is to blame. So the problem is the operating system. So we have here the common troubleshooting for computer units. So first is to double check the power connections. Then second is voltage regulator and power supply could cause power failure in the computer unit. Then also check the power cords and cables connectors in your computer unit. Then fourth, unseated card. Loose cards could cause malfunction. Then lastly, we have check the boot sequence configuration in the advanced BIOS or basic input-output unit setup. Okay, now let's talk about diagnosing network connection. So these are the things to look for if PC is connected to the internet or network. So first is to check the cable connecting to the network card into the network hub. The next step is to check the back of the computer to see if the network card light is on. Then also the next step is check the network cable using the cable tester. Then lastly is to check the network hub using the multi-tester. So that is how we diagnose network connection on our computer. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening and may God bless you.